questions for Joe?
Joe, how key were the details tonight, particularly when it came to offensive rebounds, forcing turnovers, and defensive intensity?
Yeah, just the margins. I thought the guys did a really good job, trying to win those. And, first thing is obviously transition. And it's a three-step process, keeping them out. And, I thought our transition defense was good, really good, kept them in the half court. I thought our individual defense was good. And I thought we were able to get in driving lanes and get out to shooters. And they test our discipline, they test our communication, and I thought we handled it better in game two.
What did you like about the way you closed in the fourth quarter, obviously able to extend the lead and keep their starters from re-entering?
Our defensive execution stayed intact. We gave up a few many rebounds, but our offensive spacing, shot selection was good, just managed the game properly.
Jalen obviously had a monster night. What did you see from him?
Just making the right play, poise, patience, discipline, the proper actions, getting to the right spacing, and just picking and choosing his spots really well, whether it was in transition or in the half court. So it just continues to get better and better. Takes a lot of pride in his ability to impact the game in different ways, and I thought he did that tonight.
He only had 2 assists in the box score, but it seemed like he was getting off the ball early when his path was cut off. It seemed like he was really moving the ball well on top of the scoring.
Yeah. I mean, again, hopefully one day they'll add a potential assist category or a hockey assist. But he made the right play. It's the most important thing.
Joe, is there any update on Luke's status?
No, I haven't gotten one yet.
And with him out of the lineup, you went small either with Jason or O'Shea. Was that the plan at some point to try that? And if not, what did you think of the way that looked?
Yeah, I mean, it was a plan to just stay open-minded. I knew every game's going to be different, especially with these guys and their ability to just put pressure on you in different ways with their lineup. So it was a plan to get to something like that eventually. So we were kind of forced into it. But I thought it went well. I think I like the speed, I like the athleticism, I like the spacing that we have. So it presents strengths and some weaknesses that we have to be ready for. But I think the open-mindedness throughout the year to play different ways kind of prepares us for situations like this.
Joe, a lot of talk. Drew and Derek obviously made the all-defensive team, and then tonight they come out and combine for 16 assists. How much easier do they make life on the rest of the team on offense? And then how important is it to have 2 guys who are as elite as they are on defense be so impactful on offense as well?
Yeah, they're just really good basketball players. And again, those 2 guys, you always talk about them, they come into a game open-minded on how they get impacted in different ways. Sometimes it's defense, sometimes it's pick-and-roll handling, sometimes it's screening, sometimes it's scoring, sometimes it's shot-making. And they just have the ability to impact the game in different ways on both ends of the floor. Their versatility is important for us.
Joe, I know you don't care about the voting and the awards, but Jalen was left off the All-NBA team, meaning some people didn't think he's one of the top 15 players in the NBA. How do you think things like that motivate him? It seems like people talk more about what he can't do than what he can do. How do you see that motivating him, and how has he evolved as a player and as in maturity over the last 2 years you've coached him?
I mean, Jalen's just one of my favorite people. I think, how's he handle that? I think he cares about it in a way that motivates him, and I think he doesn't really care about it at all because he understands that it's not winning is the most important thing. And so, he has an innate ability to just get better, to work hard, motivation. He has unreal confidence, but he's also not afraid to work on things that he knows he has to get better at. And so you see him every day at shoot-around or in practice. He's out there with 6, 7 coaches working on every possession, every spacing imaginable so that he sees his reads. And he just cares about the right stuff. But, obviously I think stuff like that does motivate him. But I know he also really wants to win, and he has a growth mindset and wants to get better. So I really enjoy coaching him and really watching him work.
Joe, you talked about the chaos that Indiana's style of play presents. How did you feel like tonight your discipline offensively was able to help quell that, and then how was just the defense's ability to kind of read all those little micro decisions smooth out?
Yeah, the first way to defend these guys is to attack them, and you can't defend them if you're not playing disciplined offense because they get you in 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s, 4-on-3s, cross-matched, and then your communication and your individual principles become harder. So First step to defending him is attacking him, and then when you make it 5-on-5, they just test your communication and discipline. I thought tonight we handled that a lot better. I thought tonight we handled our adjustments and our matchup execution better. And I thought when you play in the chaos, you have to embrace the chaos. And so there's going to be possessions where it is chaotic, and you just have to be ready to handle it. And I thought our guys did a good job of handling it with just multiple efforts.
Joe, O'Shea was a plus 18 in about 12 minutes. What did you see from him that made his minutes so impactful?
Just his presence, his energy, his athleticism. Just gave us, I think he had a dunk, got a steal, got us out in transition, couple rebounds. So just he plays with such a high level of intensity and energy. It's big for us.
Joe, to take care of home court and go on the road, a place where you've been successful this postseason with a 2-0 lead, what does that do for the confidence of the group?
I don't know. I know only thing we should be thinking about is they were down 2-0 a series ago, and they brought to Game 7, and they do a great job protecting their home court. They're undefeated at home. So it's going to take a lot more than confidence to get the job done, and we have to focus on the details and the execution and the mindset, the right things that go into playing against a team like this at home. And I know they're going to respond, and so it's up to us to do the same.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks.
After a pretty good first quarter, the beginning of the second quarter was certainly changed the game a lot, and they went on a big run. It was 17 at one point. We bounced back decently, got it to 6 at halftime, but the third was tough, and losing tie for the game obviously is a big blow. Go ahead, somebody.
Do you know any more on Ty right now, or is it just left leg soreness?
Well, left hamstring.
And do you have any sense on if he can return in this series? This time?
We'll find out. We'll know more tomorrow, and then probably even more Saturday.
They had that big stretch, like you already mentioned, in the second, and then again in the third after you guys cut it to 2. What did you see as maybe themes in those runs that got away from you guys in this one?
Well, the bottom of the stat sheet's ugly. It's we lost the rebounds. The second chance points were a big factor, and turnovers once again were a big problem. And so, we got to do better in those areas.
As far as Ty's concerned, is it an aggravation of the same injury, or is it in some way new?
It's the left hamstring. I believe that's the same hamstring as before. So it's sore.
Yeah, that was.
So
I don't know.
I know there's HIPAA laws and stuff like that, but I guess I could pretty safely say it's sore. It's aggravated. So.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
I know you want details. I don't have much. Other than it's sore.
Okay, gotcha. You obviously had to shake up the lineup a little bit once he goes out. I guess you went kind of to the lower end of the bench about halfway through the fourth. What made you kind of decide to kind of go with that when it was, I think, 15? I think you were down 15 or something like that at the point. What made you decide not to go back to the starters as much?
To look at some guys that I thought needed a look. McDermott went in there and played well. Isaiah Jackson brought a lot of fight to the game. Jalen Smith hasn't had much of an opportunity to play in the playoffs, and so, I wanted to see where he was at, and we weren't giving up, but it was an opportunity to get some energetic, fresh guys in there to fight, and they did some good things. The guys that had played to that point, Pascal was very tired. Aaron had 4 fouls. He was tired. So that was it.
With Tyrese, did he come into tonight sore?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. And he also was dealing with a chest issue.
Well, he got a rebound, and Jaylen Brown, I haven't watched it again, but Jaylen Brown looked like he almost went through him to get the ball, and Tyrese hit the floor. So he came back here, and he had a couple tests done with his chest, and then, he fortunately returned pretty quickly. So.
Yeah, in a situation like that, you do have to think in long term, right? And both for the series and that was Tyrese's injury early in the season, that was pretty significant. So,
Well, I mean, I'm not sure what you're asking. He was unable to return. Okay, so it wasn't like it was a coaching decision not to play him. You know, he was unable to return. So we hope that, you know, this is a very short-term aggravation. But again, you know, we'll know more tomorrow, and then, you know, Saturday, obviously, you know, the next game is coming quickly.
I did just have one more on Ty. He seemed like he walked off when you subbed him out. Like he didn't seem like he was limping or anything. Did he come and say something after? What happened, at least to your knowledge, that he aggravated it?
Well, he was sore at halftime. He was getting worked on through the entire halftime. Came out and, you know, gave it a shot, and, you know, was given all the effort that he could. But I haven't talked to him about it directly, so I can't, you know, read minds, but it wasn't going well. So the trainers determined that, you know, he needed to go to the back and get worked on, and he was ruled out.
But on like the chest, it wasn't a specific play that occurred. Like it wasn't like an incident that sparked that injury, just general soreness.
I don't know, and I think we need to move on to another topic here.
Sure.
Otherwise,
when
you know, go ahead.
I was gonna say with the offensive rebounding in that second quarter, just what do you see from that? I know that's something that you guys struggled with in the Knicks series as well.
I haven't watched it yet. These guys spread you out a little differently than New York does, and you know they have great athletes, so they beat us to some balls, and you know we've got to flip that on Saturday night.
Is the job that you did on Tatum for most of the game something to build off of, and is it frustrating to do that kind of job and not have it be something that you can consider could have been part of a win?
We got to try to make it as difficult on them as possible. We got to be physical, persistent. We got to play our game. We have to have the right help at the right time if needed. We got to make these guys make difficult shots, and we got to rebound the ball. And you know they got a lot of guys over there that can score, you know. And so we were doing some good things during the game. We just were not consistent enough, and the beginning of the second quarter was a killer.
Rick, you talked about that run. It was 20-0 end of first to the second. You dug yourself out of that hole, but in doing so, is that what you think led to some of the fatigue? It was such a daunting task to get back into it from that.
Well, it's, you know, I didn't realize it was 20-0, but you know that is a big hole. I mean, we had a 2-point lead at the end of the first quarter. I liked our first quarter very much, and then you know they started playing great and we struggled, and so. Going to have to look at it to give you the exact answers on all of it. You know, when we take a hit like that, you know, we're a team that is pretty resilient and fights back. And so, you know, getting it to 6 at halftime, you know, was positive in my mind. We took a timeout, I think, with 2 minutes or 2.5. Did a good job to close the second quarter, and then you know, third quarter continue to be difficult. I mean, you know, we had some good stretches, but they got a little more separation, and it just got harder.
Coach, you haven't lost in Gainbridge Fieldhouse since March. How will going home be a good reset for this team and have confidence that you can get 2 wins at home?
Well, in the New York series, we were down 0-2 and came home and were able to win Game 3. And then, you know, move along and do what we wanted to do. You know, for us right now, we've got to concentrate on getting back as quickly as we can tonight, and preparing ourselves for our best possible effort on Saturday night. And I know that our building will be as loud and live as it's ever been. You know, it's race weekend and everything else going on. And so we've got to take advantage of that. It doesn't guarantee anything, but it will be a better environment for us than playing here for sure.
Wanna try to boast at what I look like. Think I'm gonna try to wear, I pull up all brains. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. The city, over here,